What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Lead Judges TV. As ever, I'm your host, Dan Potts. I'm with Lead Judges, and it is time for the North London podcast. We've got Henry Wright from Henry Wright TV, and we've got Sava from Football Heritage TV. First, you need to do is go check them two guys out. Not too bad for Spurs fans, are they? Listen, let's talk Arsenal, let's talk Tottenham, and let's talk a little bit of football. Sava, how are you, mate?
I'm really well, thanks. Yeah, I'm really well. Enjoying the transfer window, all the ins and outs going on at Tottenham. I'm really enjoying it, mate. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, man. Listen, that's football season just needs to shut that transfer window, doesn't it? It just gets so stressful. And anyway, Henry, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Obviously, thanks for having me on again. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another week in the transfer window. A few more injuries. I'm sure we'll talk about your one as well, and maybe Reece James as well. But yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on again, mate.
Always. Lee, let's start with that. It's a bit of a strange one. And I'm not just going to start on Timber because I did touch on it the other night. But why the hell is everyone getting injured in game week 1? Because you've heard today Reece James is now out for a long time with his hamstring. This is a guy who can't keep fit, by the way. I mean, if he could, he'd be probably the best right back in the world right now. But he cannot keep fit for whatever reason. We've seen Timber, we've seen Mings, we've seen KDB, we've seen Emi Buendia, we've seen Thibaut Courtois. They're all long-term injuries, these, by the way. They're not like a couple of weeks out. Who, sorry?
Militao for Madrid did his
Militao as well from Real Madrid. So there must be something here that we're missing. Is this too much football? Is this too many games? Too many consecutive games? Not enough time off? What is it, Judge?
I do think it comes down to time off. Like 8 weeks, I think some of these players have had 7 weeks as well. Listen, they go through a very, very rigid, hard season, physical, as well as mental, as well as physical, but like just on the physical side, then they, particularly this year, like, you know, no break World Cup, even if there wasn't, like, going into next season, don't forget you got the Euros, so you're going to have that. So like, you know, international break comes up, some players will get a rest, obviously the top players don't, and I just think it is consistently now. You can see it with players, and a little bit of pot luck, guys. You know what I mean? If you like, you know, you can be lucky and not get an injury, or you can. Unfortunately for Timber, he's got an injury there. I think they're one-off ones that you can just unfortunate and put it down to that. But I look at the ones at De Bruyne, particularly Reece James now had the knee injury, rushed back. I think if I'll be really honest, rushed back, and then other things break down. You look at Jesus, probably the same. Rush back, getting back quickly as they can. Broke down again on the same injury, like, you know. So I think at the end of it, it is very much down to I think not having enough rest. You've got to rest that body, like, you know. And niggling injuries. You can always get injuries. I don't think, you know, football back in the 70s and 80s, you always get injuries. But I tell you what, this ACL one, it's come from nowhere. Like, I played football when I was playing football. I've never heard of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be really honest, I've never heard of it. You know, all of a sudden ACL, I had to look it up the first time I see that. You know what I mean? Like, never.
Just a bucket and a sponge when you were playing, wasn't it, Lee?
Well, yeah, like, you know, you get the old sponge. You know what I mean? And
magic sponge.
Get up there and
go on, son, get back on there.
Get on there, and I'm going to put it down to this, and I do believe this. I believe the pitches were a lot worse in our day, a lot softer. You know, these pitches, to me, like, are too hard for whatever reason. Like, you know, when I played football, there was a bit of give in these pitches. You know, so I think that has something to do with it, guys. So I'm going to say, like, a little bit of, you know, fatigue and whatever. But I don't think these pitches are all great for injuries. You know, even back in the day, when did people get an ACL? Like, you know, in the 80s and 90s, I don't really remember too many of them. And, you know, Gascoigne, I'm going to say, really made it famous, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean, when he done his. He sort of, like, that was the first sort of one that had done. But you know, that was from a bad tackle. But, like, I'm going to say pitches play a part as well.
Is this like when David Beckham invented was it the fifth metatarsal or something? Do you remember?
Yeah,
And people at the time were like, I didn't even know there was one metatarsal, let alone 5 of them. Like, do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, I've done that, and I was quite pleased myself coming to the modern world. You know what I mean? I've done my metatarsal, like,
Do you know what it comes down to the player though? Because how often have Ronaldo and Messi been injured? I don't think they've been injured for more than I think there was a stat the other day I see on Twitter that 45% of all of Reece James's minutes that he's played were in a Wigan shirt throughout his career.
Jeez.
If you imagine how he's been Chelsea's right back first team now for what? Best part of 3 years, and he can't stay fit for love of the money. He's made of glass. You know, you go near him, he gets injured. I think Lee is right. I mean, there's not enough resting. You know, you look at the season, we had a World Cup, a week off, back into the season. It's getting shorter and shorter and shorter because these big leagues and stadiums and clubs want to make more money, so they're doing more friendlies and stuff. But I think a certain part of it comes down to the player, because at one stage, Harry Kane was getting ankle injuries practically every January. Now, he hasn't been injured for the last 3 years. And he's played, I think him and Saka in the last 3 years have played the most minutes of any player. I mean, look at Saka, right? When's the last time he had a rest? I can't stand a football club, right? No. But he plays every single week for a minimum of 70 minutes. He rarely comes off, right? It's the same with Harry Kane. But they look after themselves, and they're so... Their career is absolutely everything. You look at other players like Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli, and you could say other things, but they don't get injured. So there's a bit of give and take with it. I think if you really look after yourself, then I'm not saying De Bruyne doesn't, but you need a lot of luck with it as well. You know,
I think you got a great point there, Henry. The thing is, though, right, Sava, I said this to a few mates. Yeah, that World Cup has definitely played an effect. Then I went and reviewed who's got injured. None of them played in the World Cup, did they really? So it's like actually the ones that got injured were the ones that weren't playing, like Saka's and Kane's. So it is something to do with the player for sure. Some of it is bad luck, you know. Like Lee said, like Timber, he's been phenomenal for us. Absolutely brilliant in the pre-season. Really, really good in the Community Shield, I thought. And then he plays, gets a little bit of a knock, which was apparently on his other leg, and then they're saying, oh, he should have got him off. It compensated and give him an ACL. Who knows that? You know what I mean? Like, fair play, Arteta and the physios. Maybe they could have done more. But some of it is just bad luck, you know. And that is massive for us now, because he's the one reason that people were saying Arsenal got covered there now. Because if Saliba gets injured again or Tomiyasu gets injured again, this guy can cover those positions. So basically, we ain't strengthened again. So I was speaking to, I think it was you, Sava, earlier, and I was speaking to another lad earlier on another stream, saying, have Arsenal actually strengthened now? Because we've just replaced Xhaka with Rice. That is literally it. So it's quite a hard one now. We look at our window and think, is it actually a great window?
Do you think you go out and buy someone else?
We have to. We have to.
So you spent, what, 220 million, something like that?
We have at the moment.
Peanuts compared to Chelsea, absolute peanuts.
Small change.
It was me and you. It was me and you, Potts. And I mean, I think I asked you the question. And listen, I know a salty Spurs fan asked the question, like, you've spent 220 million or whatever it is, and have you got depth? And I think we touched upon this last week, but the Timber injury between last week and this week only goes to strengthen that point of view. Now, that's not Arsenal's fault. You can't factor in an ACL injury for a brand new signing, but you've brought in Havertz, who for me isn't even better than the options you had before, which was Smith Rowe and Trossard as your backups there. You've got Rice, who's coming for Xhaka. Now, yes, Rice is a better player than Xhaka, but you've still now got the same backups. And now Timber's out injured. You've gone back to Timber. You've gone back to Kiwior and Holding. So it's a tough one. I feel like you guys have spent a lot of money without actually adding depth. And people will call me salty. I don't know what you Arsenal fans think about it. I would be slightly concerned that you're going in with a squad that's exactly the same depth as last season, but with Champions League. Yeah. Right. That would be my worry if I was you guys.
Yeah, and you know, David Raya's come in. David Raya's come in, to be fair, and that is a good upgrade on Matt Turner. But you're right, Savard. That is actually it. Because for me,
that Kai Havertz is not outstanding. Surely, isn't it? You can't. I mean, how many league teams have had two keepers that are like both competing for that number one? You normally have a number one.
Many times. Not many times. I can think of Cech and Courtois. Funny enough, Cech and Leno. Leno and Martinez. This is only at my club. I can't think of many, if I'm honest with you. I don't know if
But
Tottenham
you
have
knew
ever
out
had
of the
that.
two that who was going to be starting. Like,
Yeah,
if Raya has
fair.
a good game, let's say, I don't know, you play him against Palace, right? You got Monday, and he has 5 or 6 outstanding saves. Do you then drop him for Ramsdale, or what's Raya got to do? You're not going to play him in the Champions League and the Cups, are you?
Well, I don't know what we're going to do. And this is what's interesting. We've actually played a behind the closed doors friendly today with Raya in goal. We won 3-0 against Luton. And Trossard scored 2 again. Another player who can't seem to get into this team after scoring loads of goals, which I just can't get my head around. But I do worry. Lee, do you? I mean, Saba's made a good point there. Have Arsenal actually strengthened anything now? Because we've just replaced Granit Xhaka with Rice. Timber's got injured. Raya's come in. Havertz is a squad player, it seems. Is this a good window so far for Arsenal?
Well, listen, it was a good window, wasn't it? Like up until the Timber injury, you can't. I'll tell you what, though. If he's going to get injured, it's the time to get injured. I know, he could have got injured on September the 2nd, and that would have been a nightmare, So you have to look at it and go, right, okay, what's the positives from it? Well, that's the only one for me. And I think Arsenal got to look at it now and say, right, without being horrible, like Timber's signing is going to be a next season signing. He ain't this season, he's not going to play this season. So you look at it and you say, right, well, why did Arsenal sign him? Because they needed strength in that area. So for me, they've got to go in and do some business, and I think that they will. I think that their sign. I think Arsenal. I'll be very disappointed if Arsenal don't sign 2 players, one in defence now, and one in midfield. I still think you're right what you're saying. If anything happens to Partey and Rice, for instance, have we got the backup for that? Yes, we have with Kai Havertz, and we've also got it with Jorginho. But I still think we need more in that department there. So because you've got Champions League, it's you guys know what that's like over the last couple of years. It's I say it time and time again. 3 teams are not in it. Like the 3 teams that are in it are not in it this season. Because the games come thick and fast. You can't rest players. So what you have to do is you have to have a big squad to be able to cope with that. And I don't think it's I think when we play the likes of our Tottenham, Manchester City, Liverpool, I'm not worried about the team then, because we'll play the strong. It's these games when you play like these, the Nottingham Forest, when you have to make changes, like the Brightons and
the Burnleys and the Sheffields,
the Burnleys and all that. When you're making a few changes, and you look at Arsenal in the Europa League last season against poor opposition, and we struggled. So that is my biggest beef and worry there. So I do think we need a couple of players.
Lee, I was on a stream the other day. God, I'm on a stream all the time. I can't remember with who, but they actually brought up all of the player minutes for your Europa League run last year.
That was LB. That was LB.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I was with LB. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Big up LB. And it actually showed all the players who had the most minutes in your Europa League run. And it was really worrying because, Fabio Vieira was at the top, and then it was all your Holdings and your
basically all the deadwood, wasn't it?
Or basically, yeah. And the thing is, without the strengthening of the squad this year, you guys know this, you can't afford to do that in the Champions League. So it means that your best 11 will be playing in the league and the Champions League. And I make you right. It will be the games where you play a Champions League and then the game after against someone like a Burnley or Sheffield United, can some of the fringe players that you might bring in, no matter how good they are they up for it? Are they match fit? Are they ready to go? And that's where I think we definitely struggled with that, Henry, didn't we? Where we had to play our best 11 Champions League.
We struggled in Europe and in the Premier League. It's not,
oh, yeah, of course.
And in the Cup.
Yeah. We were terrible.
It is a good point. It is a good point, because I think on that list it was Gabriel and Xhaka that were part of the first team. Everyone else was pretty much like Eddie and Fabio Vieiras and all these kind of Holdings, all those guys, right? But obviously Rice has replaced Xhaka now, so it is worrying 100%. But I do think that we are going to have to look at this window and not be done yet. However, I don't know any team in the Premier League so far that I look at and go, they're all right. They don't need to sign anyone else. They're sorted. Even Man City, they need players. Do you know what I mean? KDB's just got an injury. Arsenal need players you've just mentioned. Manchester United look a shambles of a club. They don't look anywhere near ready. Liverpool, they haven't even got one defensive midfielder. Now they've just had to buy one today. Endo. Chelsea, they've still got work to do and are doing it. So, and you guys as well, we've just spoken today, Sabra, about how much you need centre-back still. Do you know what I mean? So there's no
You know
body.
what club I think's probably having the best window, respectively to their club? Aston Villa.
Yeah, fair.
They've just agreed to Cunha, haven't they, in the last hour? So they've got Cunha, the Sevilla left back.
Seville lad, really?
Cunha, Pau Torres, DRB, Yuri Tillemans, Zaniolo, and then
as well. They get him.
And
but they've lost 2 players, Henry. Like, 2 massive players to their squad already in Bendir
Mings.
and Mings.
Yeah, but they went straight. But they went straight out, didn't they? And like when Dia out, Zaniolo in. Now look, people will go, "Oh, his injuries," but let's be fair, it's a loan. It's a loan, right? It's a 3 million, I believe, up front
with an option for about 22 million.
Yeah. Listen, I think the one team I slightly disagree with Dan. I hear what you're saying, but I still think Man City. I just think even if they went in with what they've got now, Man City just somehow do it.
Got that mentality.
Like I watched them last night. I'm sure some of you guys did. And you look and you go, "Oh, what they're going to do? Mahrez has gone and this player's gone." And then straight away you look at that young lad. What's his name?
Cole Palmer.
Palmer. It's like, wow, where have you been hiding? Like, I knew you were good, but but I think you're right. I think they'll bring in a couple, Dan, and they will, and that they'll be able to turn it around. This has always been my question mark against you guys. It's never been in the last year and a half, 2 years about your first 11. It's been about, can you go a season? What happens when Rice gets an injury for 6 months? I'm not saying he will, but what happens when Rice gets that injury or Partey does? What happens when Saliba, again, if he gets an injury? I still think you are back into that territory of, oh my God, we've got to play Holding. We've got to play Jorginho, who is good, but a completely different player and changes the dynamic of the way you play. And that's the only reason why I don't think you will compete with Man City again. I'm not being salty, I promise.
No, listen, I can't sit there and say that I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're not talking sense. That's why I think we need to replace Timber, who's just got injured. We need to go and get the box-to-box midfielder that if Rice isn't there, we need, because it ain't going to be Smith-Rowe, Fabio Vieira or Havertz. That ain't going to happen for me. No one's going to be scared of those lads. And then we need to go and sort this forward situation out, whether it's Ansu Fati, it looks like West Ham are going to get Kudus now. I'm hearing today that they've agreed to terms. That is an unbelievable signing for them. And they want that Doku guy as well, that Man City sniffing after as well. So, we got to be thinking quick. I think that from what I hear, the David Raya deal was a loan with some money option to buy, because we're keeping it to go in again for somebody. No idea who that somebody's going to be. We haven't been linked with anybody for so long. The last signing we had was ages ago now. Absolutely.
Do you feel like whoever you sign, Potts, do you feel like whoever Arsenal sign, automatically every rival fan puts it down because it's not what Man City are doing? So, like, whoever you sign, a lot of rival fans go, but he don't start for City, does he? Like, that's the narrative now. Like, apart from Rice, everyone looked at Havertz and went 65 million. It's a bit of a mismatch. Now they're going to be thinking, well, you spent, like Sava said, you spent 200 million. You've only really, because of Timber's injury, really upgraded on one player.
Yeah, and I think you're kind of right there. What I will say is we need to be realistic about who we're going to get. So, what player are we going to get in the door that would walk into Man City's front line? I mean, unless we go and sign Mbappe, do you know what I mean? It's going to be very difficult to go and get a Haaland or a Bernardo Silva or a KDB. So I think it is going to be difficult. But I get what you're saying.
What about Felix on loan, Dan? What about Felix? Has just said he's buying his contract out, right? As far as I can see,
I would, and I know he didn't kill it at Chelsea, but actually he's a good player. And who did kill it at Chelsea? Yeah.
I think he'd fit that like a glove.
He does. The only thing people are saying, and I understand what they're saying, is he's a little bit too similar to Gabriel Jesus. And when you've got them both, are they quite similar strikers? Do we need a different profiled striker? So I kind of hear what you're saying there. But he's better than Eddie Nketiah, that's for sure. And obviously Balogun is going, it seems. So, yeah. Lee, what do you make of it? The guys are making some good points, to be fair. Are we still a bit
they are making good points, but also, which they haven't mentioned, is that the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Saka, will get better this year. They'll be better than what they were, like, you know, and Saliba and all that, because they're still young and still learning and get better and better. So, but listen, if you want my honest opinion, out of their front three, I think I might take Haaland. You know what I mean? Like a push. But the other two, I wouldn't swap over. I wouldn't swap Grealish with Martinelli, and I wouldn't swap Saka with anybody. So, like, you know, and probably they'd say the same. You know what I mean? Like, they'd say the same in their midfield. You know what I mean? Rodri and Partey. I think if you've got Rodri, you're going to be very, very happy. If you've got Partey, you're going to be very happy. Same with Rice, De Bruyne, Odegaard. You know what I mean? I would say.
I like what you're doing here. I like this. I like the way you're. I like this. This is good. This is good.
I wouldn't swap Odegaard with De Bruyne because he's 32 years of age. So I look at it there. The back defensive at the back. I like their defence. I think they've got better defenders than us. I'll be honest. Like, but would you really swap Kyle Walker for Benjamin White, 32-year-old?
All day, every day,
twice on Sunday. And that's not because he's got Spurs links. That's not.
No. Like, that's what I'm saying. But I'd rather have Ben White because like he's 24, 25 instead of a 32-year-old 33. That's what I'm saying.
The age changes the debate. But if we're going to have the debate about a player,
I get that. I get.
You know, let's be fair. De Bruyne over. Listen, if we're going to remove age,
I know they get 7. They get 7 in our 11, in my opinion. We get 4. I think we can get.
I think you're being very generous to stick 4 into the match.
Let's go for the keeper. Winners. Edison or
Edison, Walker, Diaz, and what's his name? They just bought Gvardiol. They're all going to walk in, right? But you're having Zinchenko over their left back, whoever their left back is. No,
Zinchenko over Nathan Ake. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'll have Zinchenko over Ake.
No, you're not.
I'd take Ake personally.
I think Ake's quality. Zinchenko on the ball, mate.
You wouldn't have said that a year ago.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The fact that Pep let go of one of them, and then the guy that he replaced him with essentially had an amazing season. I think Zinchenko's good, but Nathan Ake's, for me, a better all-round footballer. I think he's a better defender, but I'm a better defender than Zinchenko. But Zinchenko on the ball is class going forward.
He's very good, but if I want a left back to do a left back's job,
Rodri you're having all day long, KDB you're having all day long, and then you have Odegaard in there, and then Saka and Martinelli either side of Haaland. That's what I'd have.
It depends.
I think you guys really. I mean, Saka and Martinelli over there from free.
Who would you have ahead of him, though, Sava? Ahead of them two?
Do you know the problem when having this debate? This is the problem, right? Is I know every Arsenal fan in your comments, right? Because you're going to be made in Arsenal fans, you're going to have Martinelli. But Martinelli and Grealish are two vastly different footballers. Like their functions on a football pitch.
And Ake is exactly the same thing.
I agree, but I know which one I trust. I know which one I would trust defensively. And let's be fair, you've got to keep clean sheets, which is what City do. I'll be honest, the only one I would sneak in for you guys, and it's only because Man City have lost players, would be Saka. If I'm brutally honest, I think even then, would I have had Saka over Mahrez? Not a chance. Bernardo Silva has to get in there somehow. The man's a magician. I think, I don't know. I think you guys are.
You'd have none in there.
I look at it and I say, look, this is a new season.
Nearly won a title last year. We must have done unbelievable there. Not to get any of the teams in the Man City lineup.
But listen, but the fact is, like, it's really difficult to say it from this season because this season's 1 game old, right? So if we're going to go on last season, yeah, your goalkeeper don't get in. Saliba would be the one that I would get in there probably from last year to play with them. I wouldn't get any of your.
They've only signed Gvardiol now, though, haven't they? So I get that.
None of your midfield.
You probably go Saliba and Diaz. But then what about John Son?
None of the midfield 3 gets in at all for me. I think the midfield 3 last year of Gundogan, Rodri, and De Bruyne was just sensational. And then you've got Grealish, Mahrez, Haaland, Foden. The difference is they rotate.
I can't put Foden in there to Saka or Martinelli. I'm not having that.
I'd take Foden over Martinelli all day, every day on a month of Sundays.
If I'm looking at last season,
you guys are just being too biased at the moment. That's the problem. You're being so biased.
Martinelli last year.
I'll tell you what, like we're
Martinelli and Saka got 15 goals.
Martinelli.
Foden can't get in the first team.
Yeah, but the difference is, again, we're going back
the first
to players
team's the best team in the world.
Yeah, you're going to a Man City first team that rotate. Like one game it's Grealish, the next game it's Foden. Then on the right it could be Mahrez or Bernardo Silva. And this strengthens my point, Dan, of where you guys aren't ready to win a title. You guys hang on everything of Martinelli and Saka and put their stats against Man City's. Man City's players rotate. Your two play every God-given minute. Their stats are bound to be better than those other guys.
The only City player that plays every minute is Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland and Rodri.
No, I get that. I understand that Haaland plays every minute and KDB plays every minute. I get that. But the players that you are saying, they'd get in, 3 of them have left now. So there's 3 Arsenal players or new City players coming in. So Gundogan, he's gone. And Mahrez, he's gone. Yeah. So I'm having Saka over Foden on the right. I don't care anyway. I love Foden. I think he's class.
Would you have Saka over Bernardo Silva?
100%.
Yeah, I would.
Why?
Yeah, I love Bernardo Silva. I think he's class.
Because
Saka for the last 3 years has basically carried Arsenal
in the Premier League. You're telling me now that Bernardo Silva is better than Saka? I'm sorry, you know what I mean?
Doesn't he Bernardo Silva?
Hang on. Who's a better footballer? Bernardo Silva or Saka? Bernardo Silva is so far clear of Saka as a footballer, it's unbelievable.
If you're talking about output, it's a different debate.
But they're different players, Henry. This is the difference with Man City. With Arsenal, those goals were shared across. So you had 15 from Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus, right?
Listen, Jesus is a better footballer than Haaland. That don't mean to say that he's a better player.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So I think a better footballer is fair.
Haaland's not good. We have an argument now. If you're going to turn around and that, if on that argument, then Harry Kane is not in the same class as Haaland. You know what I mean? Like, because I think
on what?
Harry Kane's a better footballer than Haaland will ever be. But as a goal scorer, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Haaland's Haaland's just is just this beast of a
finisher.
A finisher.
Hang on that. But first of all, I didn't mention Haaland's this great footballer, but second of all, I think if anyone has watched Haaland throughout his career, you'll see his link-up play outside the box is actually very good. You guys witnessed it against you lot. His link-up play outside the box was sensational.
You've not witnessed it. You've not witnessed Saka at your ground. You've not witnessed it. You've not witnessed how good he is.
Hang on.
Saka's a Bernardo Silva go to Tottenham and do things and all that.
Hang on.
Listen, do not come on here and start ditching Saka.
I will. Right.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
He's done it again, Harry Kane. Done it again. You dirty bastard. You've done it again.
Where is the card?
He's done it again.
Granite, you're...
he's done it again, Harry Kane. Thanks for the Saka
assist. Thanks for the Saka assist.
Listen, can I just say, I think Saka's a really good player. I've never said he's not, but Bernardo Silva, for me, is the most underrated player in the Premier League. And there is a reason why when Pep Guardiola lets players go, like Mahrez, go on, see you later. You can go.
Varane, Torres, Zinchenko.
Right? They can go. Who are the 2 this year that wanted to go that he fought tooth and nail to put contracts in front of both of them? Bernardo Silva and Kyle Walker. Bernardo Silva is not just the thing is, first of all, him and Saka are very different profile of player. Saka is an out-and-out wide right bloke, right? I think we all agree on that. He's a wide right forward, whatever you want to call it. Bernardo Silva can float in the middle, out wide. That boy on the football, though, is sublime. He is so talented on the football.
Well, you guys would know because you support Man City for 6 months last year.
Well, I've been on loan.
I understand where you're coming from. You actually following him. I get what you're saying. Like, you know what I mean? You've got such.
And the thing is, like when you compare 2 players in a combined, that's why I hate these combined 11 things.
No,
when you compare 2 players,
I know what you're saying. I like Silva. I think he's a good player. And this is what I'm saying. When you compare 2, it makes you
makes it look like you're making out the other one is absolutely shambolic and couldn't get
And I'm not.
kick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you know,
exactly.
Dan, I
and
think
neither are we.
I think the biggest thing in this as well is both teams don't play the same system, right? The thing is, for Pep's system, Grealish and Bernardo Silva, for example, are perfect for that system. They're perfect for that. Would they be perfect for an Arsenal system? Maybe not.
And Saka and Martinelli are perfect for what we do.
Right.
I've got to say this, Dan. I'm a bit, and I've got to say this. I've said it for years. I'm a massive fan of Grealish as well. I do.
Yeah, he's unreal.
I think he's a very, very good player. If we had him, I'm going to be really honest. If we had Grealish and City had Saka, I'd say Grealish. I wouldn't swap over like that's how I think it is.
He's a top player.
Just quickly, Pot. So on your formation, so what did you make of Ben White as centre back? Obviously, he can play there. Partey at right back. I've seen a lot of people. I don't really like Twitter. It's a bit of a cesspit platform, but a lot of people saying about Arteta's just shoehorning Havertz to fit into the 11 because all of last year White was a right back.
Yeah, Lee said that. I personally didn't like it. Not what Lee said. I didn't like the formation at all. I hated it, in fact, because it frustrated the hell out of me.
Obviously, he tucks into
Makes
the
no
middle,
sense.
but Ben White played all.
Henry, you'll get the Arsenal fans because we won the game say that was a masterclass and all this stuff. In the first half,
if that was 5 minutes longer, Forest might have even got an equaliser.
Mate, you're preaching to choir. I said this. I said, and Lee said it. He said it was poor. It was poor from Arsenal. Man City and Newcastle at the weekend will look and think, oh, okay, I hope they play like that again then, because they ain't going to win the league playing like that. And it's facts. We won't win the league playing like that. I understand that people have said the reason why he's done it is because Nottingham Forest had like that 6 at the back thing, so we had to change formation. Okay, cool. Let's see what he does on Monday night then, because if he plays like that formation, that's going to do nothing. He's going to do absolutely nothing for me.
Do you think you're selling Ketia as well? Because there's a lot of talk about, like, Balogun was linked with us earlier.
I saw that. You've inquired about Ben Balogun. I mean, what's all that about?
That ain't going to happen. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how everybody feels about this, and it gets on me. It gets on me wick a little bit, if I'll be honest. Well, Man City ain't started well. Well, Man United ain't started well. So does that make it right then that Arsenal haven't started well? I think at the end of the day, take care of your own business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your own shot.
I'm not worried about what other teams are doing. What I'm seeing is what I see from Arsenal the other day. Weren't good. But at the end of the day, like Man United fans that have been saying, is that, didn't play well, but we got 3 points. That's how you got to look at it. They always say, there's another saying, well, it's showing of a good team if you don't play well and win. But listen, I think you've got to play a lot better than that if you're going to be pushing for whatever you want to do. I thought it was a poor performance. I have to say that. I didn't see that by playing Partey in there made us win that game 2-0. I think if we'd have played a normal team, we'd have still got the chance and maybe even more. I don't think that Eddie.
Lee, I think the difficulty for you lot this year now is because you had such a good year last year, and you had a great year last year. It's now that every team now sees you as the team to beat, as well as Man City, right? Yeah. And unfortunately, it makes a lot of the teams do what. I mean, look, we're nowhere near you as a football club right now. I know Spurs fans won't like me saying that. We're not. And
it's the truth, though, mate. We're miles away.
Yeah. But my point of this, Henry, is even when we went to Brentford on Sunday, because they knew how Postecoglou was going to play, they switched from a back 4 to a back 5 and just camped in their own penalty area. Now, that's Spurs. You guys were in a title race. You're going to get that a lot this year. You're going to get a lot of games where it's frustration. And this is the difference, right? Man City's players and Pep are so used to this game year out. That I remember, do you know what? I'm going to call Henry out here. I remember one game last year. It was Everton. Man City were playing Everton at Everton, and he was going, I think Everton are going to nick this. Everton are going to nick this because they hit Man City on the break like twice.
That was when Iwobi
hang on.
Damari Gray.
Hang on. Yeah, they're going to nick this. They're going to nick this. I said, this has got like 3 or 4-0 written all over it. No, City aren't playing well. Boom, boom. Just before half time, 2-0. And
he pops in with a little voice note. He was like, oh, he's in the score, mate.
Yeah. But look, my point on all this is you're going to get that a lot, Lee, right? I think unless you're playing the bigger clubs, you're going to get everybody camped on the edge of their own box. And that is where Arteta's going to have to figure out, and your players are going to have to be patient to break that down.
I agree. And the other thing is that which has changed, and I said this today on the Invincibles podcast, his expectations have changed. Levels have changed. I remember we beat Norwich a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, 1-0. They were bottom of the league at the time, along with us. And it was like, forget about how we played, don't matter. We got the 1-0 win. It was good that we got the win. This is a little bit different. I was speaking to a couple of Spurs mates. I'm not having a go at Spurs when I say this, is that they were turning around and going like, no, it was going like, oh, didn't he play well? So-and-so played well. Oh, we've done this well. You know what I mean? Basuma played well. So-and-so played well. And I said, God, blimey, you're talking like we was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we are, the expectation is not as big. It's a little bit of hope, you know, that these players are going to do well. A little bit like we was a couple of years ago. But when if Tottenham click, or like Arsenal, whatever, and you click, all of a sudden now that ain't good enough. That ain't good enough to go there, and it ain't good enough to go and beat Norwich 1-0 or beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. They want a little bit more, and I get that. I get that.
Baby steps, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what it is now. When you make those steps, all of a sudden, like you know, me and Dan have had conversations when we you know, like Dan's going, that Norwich game was crap, and I'd say, yeah, but it's more important that we got the 3 points, and you know, I mean, we struggled against some and so, but we got over the line. Now, when you go to these games, is that you're expecting? I'm not being horrible, you know. You guys said it last week. What do you reckon the score is going to be? 3 and 4-0. You know what I mean? And that's what you're expecting. That's the expectation level now of it. By the way, I called it right with the Tottenham result last week. I said to get a draw. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how it is. You know what I mean? If Arsenal go to Brentford in a few weeks' time, wherever it is, you know, if we get a draw, there'd be a disappointment about that. You know what I mean? Because the expectations go up, and the better you do, the expectations go up.
Of course.
And that is something that Arsenal players and fans have got to deal with, because I'm telling you that now. I'm going over there. I expect 1, a performance, and 2, a result. You know what I mean? Like, we're probably
that's the minimum. Like, that's the bare minimum now.
Yeah, it's a bare minimum. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, where a couple of years ago, you think, oh, you know, I don't know if we can get a win or whatever. We drew with Brentford last season at home. You know, we had the controversy and all that, but ultimately, you're disappointed that you haven't won the game. You know, so there is a little bit of that now with Arsenal, and I'm like, you know, I went in there at half time when we was 2-0 up. I don't know how Dan feels about this, and I'm saying, like, you know, my 3-0 bet's looking good here, and my 4-0's looking good. You know, someone would have turned around to me and said, like, like it's going to be 2-1. I said, yeah, get down here and support Spurs. You know what I mean? What are you on about? Like, I never thought that was going to happen, but. You know,
come to our stadium. It's lovely.
Do you know what? As well, I give massive credit to can't remember Forest's manager's name, but he brought on Elanga and that forward 15 minutes.
Elanga was rapid, mate,
and he just put the game on it, turned the game on its head. And that Elanga with the afterburners. I mean, I couldn't know who it was. Couldn't live with him, and you know. As a performance, I don't think, you know, obviously you should have scored a few more goals, but it's the first game of the season. Anyone coming out saying Arsenal aren't going to be in a title race because of one game is madness. You know, you got fortunately for you boys, you've got a good run of fixtures. You've got, Palace and Fulham, and, you know, then you've got United, but fortunately it's at home. And then you go right all the way up to you've got Man City, and it's like all of a sudden, if you start how you did last year, win after win after win, I think you won something like 8 or 9 of your first 10 games. That trajectory starts again, but you know, you're both, you're right. You still desperately need.
Yeah,
I think you need another defender now. Timbers out, which is a shame. I feel desperately sorry for him. I can't stand your football club, but he's a great player. He can play everywhere. And on your debut, you know, you're going out to the Emirates. All the fans have, you know, paid good money, and to have that. The one question I have, I'm probably going to get pelters for this. Why did Arteta not take him off at half time? Right,
well,
you know when Partey did it against us, Partey he did his hamstring, he went off, and Arteta forced him back on because we were on the counter. And I get it, play to the whistle, but do you think if he'd come off at half time, the injury wouldn't have been as bad as it was, or do you think the damage is already done?
We won't know that now, Henry, but you're right. It maybe that was what I said earlier on. We don't know if the physio team or if Arteta or if the player himself, you know, sometimes the player says, look, I'm all right. I know my body best. I'm going to get out there again. Sometimes Arteta needs to go, no, man, I'm not going to risk it. The physio, though, if they say, yeah, we believe you're all good, we've checked you, then you go out and it's bad luck. So we don't know what one it is. We don't know if they've tried to force him. He's got players on a bench that could have come on, and we'll never know now, unfortunately. But it's too late. It's happened. Could it have been done? If it happens again, we'll look at it and go, what the hell's going on? But we get a lot of injuries, Arsenal, don't we, Lee? With this
and I will say this about the Spurs one, you know what I mean? Took him off straight away, like, you know, I know it was a different thing with the concussion, but no
Romero.
No messing about, like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
that was good.
Took him off, worried about player health and welfare. I think at the end of the day, I do blame Arteta a little bit for it, but I think you're 2-0 up. You've got good enough players to come on at the end of it. Like, you know, he took a knock. I would have turned around and said, no, you're coming off, like, you know what I mean? So, listen.
You're in cruise control, aren't you? The game's in your hands.
Yeah, cruise control. I felt that, you know, it was unnecessary to reel him out there again. And the facts are, I don't know if it done anything. You know, like, anything can happen at any time, as you guys know. But, like, for me, you know, like, the game not won, but nearly won. I would have said no. There's no risk. But listen, when you took a whack on your ankle or something, you know, I don't know. You know, there are times when you think, oh, I want to carry on playing. It's a difficult one, but for me,
especially first game of the season and being at home,
player welfare. You know, as I say, with the Spurs one, that's a bang on the head. But, like, no, straight off. And, you know, the player, he could see this is what you see and probably happens in the dressing room, but you see it on the pitch. No, I'm all right, boss. I'm all right. You know, no, I don't care. You're off. You know what I mean? Like, so that was pretty good from the Spurs manager, if I'll be honest.
Yeah, it was, man.
Yeah.
Listen, let's touch on you guys, because I watched your game and I hate to say it, but I actually thought you played pretty well. I think your midfield is quality. I think it's going to boss, mate. I thought Bissouma was head and shoulders above the rest of the players. I thought Maddison has already showed more creativity than Spurs have had in the last 5 years in one game. 2 assists. I've got a charity bet with Tom Canton that Maddison's going to get more GA than Havertz, and I'm already two up.
He will for sure.
Game. Well, I think so. That's why I bet him it, but he doesn't. He thinks Havertz.
I thought he was going to say then Odegaard at first. I was thinking that's
no.
brave bet.
No. Then Havertz. I know, yeah, I know. So let's see. Bless him. He's got a lot of faith that Havertz will come good. So let's hope for my sake that he does. Right. I do think your front three were pretty poor, and I'm going to suggest something. And I said this to Sav earlier. I wouldn't stick with this Son on the left thing. He don't look right there. I'd go with him up the top now, I think, and try maybe Richarlison on the left or somebody else in Kulusevski. I don't know what's happened to Kulusevski, by the way. This player was better than Saka not long ago and was putting Saka in the mud, according to Spurs fans.
Hang on.
Not by you two, but, you know.
Some Spurs fans. Spurs fans. Some of us don't run our mouths about our own players that quickly, right? Some of us don't.
Yeah. But I don't know what's happening with him. He's gone missing because Kulusevski for a long time. What are you going to do about this, Henry? Because you've got them three, but that is literally it. I don't really know. Obviously, you've got Perisic and Solomon, who I don't mind, actually.
Work at all.
What's going on with this front three? Talk to me.
Well, the thing is that I don't want to get too technical and do all the football manager talk, but then Kulusevski is not a winger, right? He's a wide forward. He is best, right? With the best performance we've seen of him is when we're on the counter, right? When he's running up players in this possession-based system, our wide players have got to be fantastic crossers of the football, right? If you look, we're going against Manchester United. Do you fancy Son to get the better of Wan-Bissaka? No, you don't. Wan-Bissaka will completely lock him off, and Son will have a quiet game. So all our football is going to go down that right-hand side. Now, at the moment, I'm looking at Kulusevski and thinking, when's the last time you really took a man on and pulled his pants down? I can't remember the last time. Then I look at Solomon and think, hang on, for starters, he beats him in pace. So straight away, the fullback, Luke Shaw's going to be thinking, I might have a tougher game here. And he's unpredictable. So I know Sava's going to say it's exactly the same as me. Son and Kulusevski have become one-trick ponies. As soon as Kulusevski runs down there, he cuts back on the left. The difference is when Saka does it, he can go outside or inside when he beats the man. He can go round, cut back, cross, and he can beat the man for pace. Kulusevski doesn't do it. And Son looks, mate, honestly, he looks not even half the player he was.
He drops off, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's best when he's running
good,
in
isn't
behind. Harry Kane, one ball over the top, right, and running in behind. But at the moment, mate, like, seriously, it's I don't know. If we play with that front three against United, I worry for us.
Listen, Henry speaking for me there, but with every right to, he's heard me say it. I'll be honest, guys. I've said this, and I get so much stick within the Spurs community for this. I'm just bored of that front. Even when Kane was there, I've said this for ages, haven't I, Henry? I'm just so bored of this whole Kane, Son, Kulusevski like trio. I think that everybody knows how it works now. Obviously, Kane's gone, but everyone knows how they play. I think if you're a fullback, and I've said this all the time, if you're a decent fullback, right? Bear in mind, Rico Henry is a good, solid Premier League fullback, right? I don't think he's amazing.
I mean, I was impressed with him, by the way.
Yeah.
Good, solid fullback. And he had Kulusevski in his pocket the whole game because you know why? He knows that Kulusevski, every time he gets the ball, is going to take a touch, come inside on his left, pass it inside 5 yards, right? Now, what happens is every 3 or 4 games, I think that's being generous, every 5 or 6 games, Kulu will take a touch, whip one in, right? And it might go in. People will go, oh, there you go. He's amazing. Look at him. But game in, game out, if I was a left back, I would love to play against Kulusevski. I would not lose any sleep over it. I would just show him onto his right foot because he ain't got any pace. And lots of Spurs fans don't want to hear that. But unfortunately, the bloke that they all bigged up, we've seen 3.5, 4 months of good football from him at the end of that first season. And since then, I've seen nothing that makes me think he's good. I've seen nothing. He looks really painfully average and has one trick.
I think the injury hasn't helped. Didn't you remember he had that like hamstring injury and all that? I will say in his defence, and I don't like to say too much about Spurs, but I don't think many players can run that defender. I don't think anything like Henry. I don't think many would be able to run him.
Mate, it's not just that game. It's every game in pre-season, every game last year.
His best performance was Shakhtar, wasn't it? When he come into the middle and he was acting more of an attacking midfielder. That was when he looked like the Kulusevski of 6 to 8 months ago. The problem is right now is you look at our front three we've got now and go, what's the strengths? And you'd all say running in behind. But the problem is
we don't play that way now.
Precisely. We don't. We play this. High intensity football, and we need. I think we'd be better suited with. I don't want Son to start against United, and that sounds crazy. I'd rather go Perisic on the left. On it, watch him. His touches off. He looks slow. He looks like, I don't want to say he's carrying an injury, but he looks half the player. At least Richarlison does the dog work. Like, he'll chase things down. He'll get stuck in. For the first time this season, in God knows how long, Brentford played a back 5. Now, we know Richarlison's going to be fighting for scraps. At least he did the dog work. Some probably should have scored. It's straight to the keeper. It's the same old thing. He
You're not playing down the middle, though, Henry.
Yeah, but then the problem is, right, we're going to be whipping crosses in the box. He's not going to beat Varane to a header. Yeah. He probably won't even beat Martinez to a header.
The difficulty is, as Henry started saying at the beginning of this whole conversation, is Son and Kulusevski are reactionary footballers. So when Spurs are on the counter-attack, they're very good when they don't have a lot of time to think and they're just doing it. I think now we're more of a pressing football team that will have more of the ball than every opposition we face, unless obviously it's going to be against you guys or City. Most teams, even Man United, I think we're going to have more of the ball. When you have more of the ball, you guys know there isn't room to run in behind because teams sit back. If Son and Kulu haven't got room to run in behind, right now you're looking at these players going, okay, what else you got? What's your trick? What can you do? You can't beat your man on the outside. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to swap wings to find out if it works? Is one of you going to come and play in alongside Maddison in the 10 to see if you get a bit more joy centrally? But what I've seen all pre-season is just these two running down the line, not really knowing what to do when they get in those areas. And the problem is they both had poor years last year. At what point do you say they're just not it? And this is the thing, half our fan base loves Son to the point where the man can do no wrong. It doesn't matter what he does. He can't. It's Sonny.
If Saka had the season Son had, right, he would get absolutely destroyed by the media, by everyone. Because it's Son and he's everyone's favourite uncle, and he can't do anyone's flipping. He can't do any bad news to us. You look at the stadium. You watch our game on Saturday. Watch how many Korean flags. I bet there's more Korean flags right than there is Tottenham flags. Yeah. He can't do no wrong. The whole club
and he's just been given the captain's armband.
Yeah, he's a captain's armband.
He's just been given the captain's armband as well.
He can't do no wrong.
But what will happen, guys? You watch. If he scores a goal at the weekend, what will happen
he's
is
great.
He's back.
Son's back.
He's back. He's amazing. And then he won't do anything for 6 more games. But that's where we're at with him. And this is why.
He seems to have lost a bit of pace, boys, I think.
For sure.
To what he was.
For sure.
Is he 30 now? Is he 30?
31.
He's purple.
31.
Do you know what? As I said, I always have this row with fans within the Spurs fan base. Henry will know I do. Anyone who's Spurs in your chat will know this. I've said for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, this guy is not world class. He's a very good winger that in his prime is very good at putting the ball in the back of the net. But when people call him world class, I look at his all-round game and go, what else you got? And for me, it's not enough. The ball hits him and bounces away. He keeps trying to take men on and hasn't really, he's got a step over, but doesn't really glide past them anymore. I don't know if we're not witnessing a very good player turning into a very ordinary footballer that will start every week because his name is Son.
He's fell off a cliff, mate. He's like,
I agree.
He don't go from scoring 23, 24 goals a season to he wouldn't score in a brothel at the moment. He can't hit a barn door. He's honestly, mate. I bet you what'll happen is.
What would your front three be now, then, boys?
Solomon, Perisic, Richarlison. Simple as that. You know what you're getting? You're getting balls into the box from Perisic. Richarlison's good in the air, and Solomon will give Luke Shaw a good game. If you put Son up against Wan-Bissaka, he's got the easiest day of his life because he knows.
I like Solomon, by the way, for the record.
You got to be a good player to get the better of Wan-Bissaka because he's.
But it will be a different game because I do think Man United will play high.
Oh, yeah, of course it'll be a different game.
They will take the game to Tottenham. They did it against us, and it become a real end-to-end game. And I do believe Man United will do that, and I do believe that it's one game against a difficult team in Brentford. I wouldn't change that front three at this moment in time. I think Maddison, you've got to say will get better and create things for these guys, and then you have to look at it from there. I don't think really like a difficult away game on first game of the season against Brentford, you can start saying, right, he can't play and he can't play. You know what I mean? I think
it's been more than that, Leo.
I think it's not been one game, mate. This is the problem. It's not been one game.
New season, boys.
Even back in the last season, he completely. He went from 23 goals to 10, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But then it was, but he's carrying an injury, so that's fine. He's no longer injured. But he's not fit. That's fine. He's fit now. How many more excuses are we going to keep? Like, I'm not saying we're this elite football club. But you don't go from being that highly, like scoring 14, 15, 17, 18, 20 goals a season to in pre-season, you can't even get a shot on target.
Why is it like then with Song that he has gone like this? Because, I know you said like he was never like world class. I thought he was like him and Kane, you just got to look back at their stuff and all that, their stats and all that, they were incredible stats at one stage, and I think over the last 2 years, he has dropped off. I don't know why. Is it because of disappointments at Spurs? I don't know. Not being the main man. I think with Song at some times, I think he got harshly treated at times. I think they need to take a player off, and can't take Harry Kane off, but we take Son off for
mate. Honestly, I don't think that's the case at all, Lee. Son, there was a point where people were going, "This guy's got to start getting subbed," and he never would. Sonny has been so protected. It doesn't matter how bad he plays. Our fan base, again, not all of it. A portion of our fan base can't see any wrong in it. The managers couldn't see any wrong in it. Last year, he didn't score for the first 7 or 8 games of the season. Then he comes off the bench. The first game he's benched. He comes on rotated. He comes off and scores a hat-trick. Everyone went, oh, my God, Sonny, all you doubters, he's back. 7 or 8 more games, nothing. Then he suddenly scores against Crystal Palace. Do you remember, Henry? And it was,
deflected
oh my
goal
God,
that was.
Sonny is back. And it's like, hang on, how many times are we going to do this? You can't score 7 or 8 games, every 7 or 8 games, and then go, oh, he's back. I don't think he's got it. I think he'll score. I reckon he'll get 10 goals this season. But let's be fair, from where he was, is 10, 11 goals enough in a season for a player like Son?
He's getting 20 odd, wasn't he?
So,
I think some Spurs fans said the other day that when he went off to, which was quite funny because he'd done his national service, didn't he? Like, did his twin brother come back or something? Like, he's been the same since. You know what I mean? So
it is worrying. It is worrying for Spurs because he's a top talent for them.
Surely, guys, right? Players do listen. I'm not saying this is 100%, but surely we're all old enough to have seen a lot of players. At some point, players' careers start to go downhill. At some point, you stop being the player you were. And for me, as I've always said, his game was never about his brilliant ability to pass, his brilliant ability of skill, his brilliant ability to control a game. It was about pace and getting in behind. When a player loses even a yard, straight away, you are not the same player. I'll tell you what, he hasn't.
Great point.
He hasn't been able to reinvent himself. Top players reinvent themselves, right? Okay, I've lost a yard of pace. I'm going to drop back a little bit. I'll dictate everything that goes on.
Same with when Rooney lost his pace. He tapped back into a playmaker role. Right. The same with Kane. He completely changed his game, started dropping deep, spraying balls out wide. With Son, though, if a big come in from Saudi Arabia or, I don't know, Madrid or anyone like that, I wouldn't hesitate. If it was 70, 80 million quid.
I can't believe what I'm hearing here.
Honestly, Lee,
this isn't the same player.
Man United, he's not. Watch, he'll have a masterclass now.
You will beat them. By the way, I've got so much confidence. You're going to beat Man United. They are shocking, mate. They are shocking.
Their midfield apart, mate. Honestly, if we play, if Basuma has a good game,
I think you'll beat him. I think you will. Listen, we're going to do some super chats. Then we're going to go into some predictions for this weekend. We're going to do a little prediction table, which will be me and Lee versus Savra and Henry, which will be fun for both of our games. So let's do the questions and super chats now. This first one, if Dave's awake.
Too busy laughing at these.
Edward. Lee, my old man loves your podcast and a chance getting a signed shirt from you. If any chance getting a signed shirt from you for his birthday, Lee?
100%, of course. We'll sort that out. No problems.
Excellent. Get in touch with us, mate, and we'll make sure that we sort that out for you, Ed. And big up, man. Thanks so much for the super chat and thanks for watching. This one comes in from Alex. He says, I hope Timber's injury is not the start of a new Diaby. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? We've had so many. We did Diaby, Eduardo.
Injury.
Oh, jeepers. Let's hope that. That's quite a pessimistic way to look at an injury in it, but fair enough. I can understand the PTSD, Alex. I can. Another one from Alex says, but for Henry, where do you see Spurs finishing? I did say 8th before Kane. Now I think 12th or 13th. Wow.
Nah. Isn't it nads? 12 or 13th, but we didn't sign any centre-backs and we lost about 8 players. But I think we'll finish 7th. 7th, 6th. If we get a DM, a centre-back and another forward, I think we'll finish, 7th or 6th. And that'll be respectful because new managers come in. You know, we've still got a lot of deadwood to get rid of. And I think there's 5 or 6 better teams than us in the league that have had better windows and got rid of their deadwood. So, and no Spurs fan can moan if we get 6th, in my opinion. Like, would you moan, Sava?
No. This year is very much. I've said it all along. This year is all about we need to consolidate.
Bit of a free hit, as the Gooners say, isn't it?
Not even a free hit. We need a manager for the first time in 5 years that starts a season and finishes it. Right. So we need some consolidation. We honestly, since Pochettino,
that's why I'm laughing.
We've not had a manager start a season, finish a season. So for me, I just think we need to be respectable, get back into European football, whatever it is, get the team learning this philosophy, and for the love of God, the football gods, have a plan going into next summer with this new director of football, whoever he is, and Postecoglou as to who they already want, so that we don't have another window like this window, Henry, where we're kind of scrambling around for 7 weeks trying to sign players.
In panic.
It's like whatever his name is.
It's like 2 years ago, Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, I've said this to Sava. This is so similar.
3
to
hits or whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Honestly.
Take this and take that, like, you know, get into the top 6, get, you know, get your
Difference is we're not calling it a process, are we? That's the only difference.
I don't know what, like, you know, but it's
the process, boys.
Trust the project.
Trust the process.
Don't worry, Henry. In 2 years, we'll be saying that all our 11 are better than the treble winners as well. Don't worry about it.
That's the dream. That's the dream for you Spurs fans. That's your dream.
There's a couple more questions that we got here before we go to predictions. This one has come in from Sheep Heat Productions Podcast. Top man, I hope you're well. Can Rice make up the goal of the GA of Xhaka last season? He's going to have to, in my opinion. He's going to have to. And Xhaka scored 7 last year, I believe, in the Premier League. So can Declan Rice get 7 goals? I mean, I think he can. I think he's a top talent. And I think in that position that he plays as an 8, I think that he can do. And he's going to need to have to. This one comes from Wayne. Says, do you require a moderator? I'll do it. Sava and Henry ain't sacked me yet. Look at that. Get in touch.
Wayne, the only problem is he's a Leicester fan, and I can't stand Leicester for obvious reasons.
Listen,
so. Don't worry. He's a great guy. If you did want anyone, Wayne's a top guy. He's a top guy.
Fair play, man. Big up, Wayne. And this one is: Did Timber come in with a knock?
Did Timber come in with a knock? So did he join Arsenal with already having a knock?
Just with a knock. I don't believe so, Lee. Do you know that?
No, I think what he's saying is maybe did he go into the second half with a knock? Well, yeah, he did.
Right.
You know, listen, he was flying, wasn't he? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? I have to say, seeing him in America, seeing him in the first couple of games, he's impressed me more than any of our other signings. Unfortunately, you know, it's a bad one, and you don't know how ever he's going to get on from this now. You know what I mean? No, is he going to come back bigger and stronger? They always say that, but I haven't really seen anybody come back from it and be, you know, bigger and better and stronger. So it is a worry.
That's what we've got, Lee, going on at the moment with Bentancur.
Look at Van
Bentancur's
Dijk.
Been out injured since January. Like, what's he going to be like when he comes back? I think everyone assumes he's going to come straight back in, and everyone's going to go,
isn't he? When he comes back, what's he going to be like? Yeah.
What did he have done? What did he do?
ACL, same injury.
He had an ACL.
He got injured in November in the World Cup, or maybe first week of December, and he's still not back.
See, Arsenal copying us again. We get an ACL. A few months later, you want an ACL.
No, I don't want. No, I don't want to copy you
lot. Listen, let's do some predictions. We're going to start this prediction table off now. We'll do it in teams. So it'll be me and Lee up against you lads. Let's start with your game, shall we? Tottenham, Man United. Henry, what you saying?
Well, we're going to concede a goal. Let's be honest. I reckon we will beat United 2-1. That's my prediction. 2-1. I think it'll be a close game. We're going to concede goals because we haven't got, if Romero, I tell you what, my prediction depends on if Romero plays. If he doesn't play because of his concussion injury, I think it will be a 2-2 draw.
Oh, okay.
But if he starts, I think we'll beat him.
Do you know what? I had the exact same. I've got a stand to win 2-1. However, if Romero doesn't start, I worry that it could be 2 or 3-2 to them. That's how bad I think Sanchez and Royal as a defensive right side are. So, mate, it's true. You guys watch Saturday night. You watch Man United target our right back area all game. I guarantee it. Watch it, and you'll remember me saying this all game.
Wow. Lee, what do you reckon? Man United, Tottenham.
Listen, I don't think Man United can play as bad as what they did the other night. I'll be honest, you know what I mean? And I think Spurs are always difficult to beat at home, so I'm going to sit on the fence on this 1-1-1.
1-1-1. Or 1-1.
Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 1.
No, I know where the third one was. It was for the referee that will surely be a Man United player as well.
Yeah, after Monday night. Oh, dear.
Let's not go on to that. We'll be here all night.
That was a shambles, mate. I'll tell you that. There's nothing more to say other than shambles. I am going to agree with the lads. I think Tottenham will win this one 2-1. I was absolutely shocked at how poor Man United were. That midfield is going to get dominated, mate. Mount and Bruno do not know how to play together. They were an absolute mess. They just left Casemiro on his own. Just say, "Oh, go on, mate. Good luck. We're going to go up here and try and make something happen." Absolute shambles. They've got no centre forward because they've signed one who's injured. They've got Martial, who they still were trying to get rid of. Rashford's having to play up top, and that Garnacho on the right. They're still playing that Anthony, which is just a disgrace. He is absolutely awful. It is embarrassing watching him try and play football. He is awful.
Do we get bonus points for goal scorers? Because I think Sonny's going to get a brace.
Hang on a minute.
We've just slagged him off for an hour.
And then he's going to say he's back.
No, do you know what?
Sonny's back.
Do you know why I think he'll get a brace? The way I saw Wolves rip through that Man United team, I can see Maddison slipping a few through balls into Sonny, and that is where I think he's dangerous. I think this is perfect opposition for Sonny. I think Sonny will score goals against the bigger teams like you lot, Man U, City, not all of them, Chelsea. I think it's the smaller teams that sit back is where he'll struggle. So I'm going to go with a Sonny brace 2-1.
So we're doing bonus points.
I'll tell you what, if we get 3 points for correct score, 1 point if you get the team you think is going to win correct, and then we'll do 5 points if you guess all the goal scorers. There you go. Let's do that. Okay, so you think Son will get 2, and you think who's going to score for United?
Rashford on that right hand side.
The only one he can go for, isn't it?
I think Rashford will score for United for us. Maddison and Richarlison.
Okie dokie.
Richarlison.
Wow. I'm going to go.
It's a damn pot scoring for Spurs at the back post and Richarlison, isn't there?
I'm going to go Rashford, and I think Spurs are not good enough to score to get an own goal.
You absolute hater, aren't you?
Wow.
I'm going to go for a Maddison goal. I think Rashford will be the one that scores because he's the only one I can go for, and I'm going to go for. It's hard, isn't it? I'm going to go Son.
And you watch the stick I'll get next week if Sonny scores 2.
I'll go Son, Maddison, and
Rashford. If you can't see what Levy and Postecoglou are doing, mate, you can go down the Emirates. That's what it'll be.
You know what? I feel like I might rent it somewhere near the Emirates the amount of times I'm told to go down there.
Do you get that? Do you get that when if you do?
I get told that all the time. Go down and watch Arsenal. I always get that as well.
If you dare say something,
it's unreal.
If you dare say something which isn't completely biased, it's like if I go, oh, listen, I think Arsenal are a really good team. Oh, you like them. Go and support them. Yeah,
you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, I always get what I'd like to do is see Arsenal win. Well, why do you go down to Tottenham? Well, they don't win anything. So, no, I don't want to go down there because they don't win anything. I might as well go down to Man City who do win something. Well, it don't make any sense, these people, does it? Anyway, very bizarre. Okay, let's start with the Arsenal predictions then. Lee, I'll let you start, mate.
I'm going to go Crystal Palace. I'm going to go for the same score as last year. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2.
Who's going to score for Arsenal?
I'll tell you what, like that crap player Martinelli, he's going to get both right.
I never said he was crap.
Love it.
I'd love Martinelli on the left instead of Son, if that makes you feel better.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I think that we are going to win. I'm going to go for Martinelli and Saka again to get both goals. And I think who's going to score for Palace? I'm going to go for. We're going to concede a corner, and it's going to be that lump at the back, that Anderson. There we go. I'll go for him. Henry, what are you saying?
2-1 Arsenal. I think Palace will go 1-0 up from Elise. Just sign his contract.
He's injured, Henry.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Eze then.
No.
Eze then. I think they'll go 1-0 up, and I think you boys will show your class and win 2-1. And I think.
Why don't you go Zaha?
He's gone flipping 30, mate. I'll go Martinelli and Havertz.
Oh, Henry.
Whoa.
I think Havertz will get a goal when he'll do that to order.
I like it.
Yeah, he'll do that, some sort of Hulk Hogan celebration or something, and then they'll all be, all over him like a tramp and hot chips. But
Wow.
yeah, 2-1.
I think Palace are going to win this one 3-1.
3-1 Palace.
No, he doesn't.
No,
I was going to say, I was waiting for it.
I'd love to think that. I think Arsenal. Does Benteke still play for Palace?
No,
he's in the MLS now, isn't he? He played against them the other week.
Just kidding. I think it'll be. I think Arsenal win 2-0. I think Palace will huff and puff.
Because you don't know no Palace players, you're saying that, 'cause that's what I said.
I don't know anymore. No, listen. I think Palace will huff and puff. I think they've got a good midfield this year with Decore and Lerma. I think they're going to be tough to break down in there. I think your class will show, and I will go with. I'm going to go with Kai Havertz as well, just for the bants of it all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like these two on here.
Who else don't I rate? Bukayo Saka. I reckon Saka and Havertz will get the goals 2-0. Wow. I don't think it will be a steamroller 2-0, but I just don't know if Palace have got. When your forwards are Edouard, and I just feel like there's. I don't know if there's enough bite in Palace. So 2-0, but hey, yeah, 2-0.
Listen, I love it. Good fun and games. Let's see how many of us are right. If this is going to be like whenever you do Super 6, you think, oh yeah, I fancy that, and then like at the end of the week, you get like 1 point.
Yeah.
It's always one of those, isn't it?
Like you go for a 4-0 win, and then within 1 minute of the game, the team you said wouldn't score have scored a header at the back post.
That's so true, man. Always, isn't it? Always.
What do we know?
I said, Sevilla wouldn't score against City, and they scored in the first half, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Mate, that was crazy. That was. Listen, boys, always good fun with you two, and we shall look forward to this weekly pod without a doubt. Me and Lee are going to be back tomorrow night. Please make sure you do us a favour, like and subscribe. Help us on our way to 40k. Make sure you get the likes up, people. Make sure you go and follow Sava over at Football Heritage TV, who's literally about 100 off of 10k. So please,
103 away from 10k.
Come on, let's get that.
103. Yeah.
Come on, let's get him over to that. Come on. And it's not just Tottenham content over there with Sava. He's got everybody on. So it's all football content. So make sure that you do that. Same for Henry on your way to around 20k next target, mate, ain't it, for yourself?
Yeah, it's doing quite well at the moment. Season's kicked off. We're all fully underway. Yeah, the next target is 20k, mate. So yeah,
Legend, mate. Make sure you go over to Henry Wright TV and subscribe and get him up to 20k. If you could come and follow myself on my own channel as well, that'd be amazing. At Football's 12th Man Podcast, we're a couple hundred away from 12k, so that'd be amazing if you could come and help as well. Brilliant, lads. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you like on your way out. Subscribe to these guys. We'll see you later. And up the Arsenal. Take care, people.